Hi everybody, welcome back to Market Monday. My name is Sally Campuzano with Signature Realty. This is Keeping Up with Union County NJ Real Estate. I am very excited. Today I have a very special guest for you guys. He will be talking to you guys about the loan process and the different options that he can offer you. So here we go. This is John Palumbo with Freedom Mortgage. John, welcome.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here with you guys. Just a little bit of background on myself. So I'm a mortgage banker now with Freedom for the past 5 years or so. Been in the business well over 16 years and very passionate about what I do. I love this business. I'm sure you do as well. Being in the real estate business, we have the opportunity to help families get into homes. So I work with an amazing team. I run the branch in Totowa. I run there's about 10 salespeople that work with me day in and day out, and I have a great operations, just a really good company to work with. I'm just excited to be here. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming by.
Sure.
So I want to start with one first question. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers.
Okay.
And sometimes they tell me, oh, I've been pre-qualified, or
okay,
I don't know if I've been pre-approved, and they really don't know the difference between the two. So can you just explain a little bit about what is the difference between being pre-qualified and being pre-approved?
Yeah, so interestingly, a lot of lenders use these terms interchangeably. So basically, looking at what they mean, as a pre-qualification, when you're getting a pre-qualification from a borrower, it means that the borrower may have called the lender may have obtained some verbal information over the phone, and then with that information generated a pre-qualification letter. Give them an idea of what they may qualify for, what their payments may be around, kind of keep them within a budget. But ultimately, it's really good to get a pre-approval because pre-approval is actually where they're providing documentation. Right. Because with a pre-qualification, they may not even be pulling credit, let's say. With a pre-approval, the lender's actually gathering income documents, they're gathering assets, they're pulling credit, they're asking the right questions. And I think that's going to have a lot more weight when you're presenting an offer to have a pre-approval. Right. But again, you might have a lender that may say they've been pre-qualified, meaning that they've been pre-approved. So it's kind of I tend to see these terms used a lot interchangeably, but pre-approval is more thorough review.
Right, no, I think it's very funny because, like I said, a lot of times, you think that they're pre-approved, but they're really not. They really just had a conversation over the phone, and they don't have that letter that says they've been through this whole process.
Exactly.
So again, the pre-approval process, a little more in depth. What is the process? So like, let's say I'm bringing a buyer to you, and they want to get pre-approved. What documents do they need to have in hand? How long is this going to take? Can they get pre-approved within 24 hours, or is it going to take 2-3 days? How does it work?
So timing is very important. Especially in a market where you're competing against other bids, right? So the first thing I like to do when I pre-approve a client is just get on the phone with them. I like to establish some rapport with them, ask them the right questions, just to get the process started. I'll first ask them questions as to what they're looking for. What are they looking to buy? Is it a multifamily? Is it a single family home? What area? So I kind of have an idea what the taxes might be, for example. And then from there, I'll determine, I'll ask them questions about their jobs. So we're going to look at the last 2 years of their employment history, whether they're self-employed or they're a W-2 wage earner. Do they get bonus? Do they get commission? So I'll ask them as many questions as I can to get everything up front. Also about the assets. So I'll ask them how much money they can put down. Are they, for example, a first-time buyer looking to put, let's say, 3% down or 5% down? Or have they saved, 20, 30% down on a property that they'd like to purchase? So it gives us a lot of options with products depending on their scenario. It's important for me also to really establish rapport with them because I want them to be honest with me. Right. Because in this business, if a client, for example, has a previous bankruptcy, foreclosure, they co-sign for someone and it's not appearing on credit, because sometimes that does happen, 99% of the time it's going to come up on the internal review when we underwrite these loans. Banks today have these checks and balances where they are going to find out everything about this borrower. Right. So it's really important that they're very upfront from the beginning. That way I know which direction to put them. Documentation-wise, we're going to, again, run their credit. We're going to ask them for 2 years of their taxes and W-2s. I don't always use all the documents, but I like to get them up front to see what I can use and what I can pull out. Right. I like to keep the file simple. And their assets, their bank statements for the last 2 months we'll usually ask for. And then any questions pertaining to their properties. If they own other property, what kind of expenses do they have? Do they have mortgages? Are the taxes included, not included? So we could turn around the pre-approval in a few hours, a couple hours sometimes, whether it's night, weekend. We really understand the importance of time. So we can do it fairly quickly. As long as I can pull the credit and I at least have some income docs, I'm comfortable at least to issue a pre-approval. That's really the process.
Awesome. So there you have it. So if you're looking to, let's say, put in an offer right away, you need a pre-approval, you definitely want to contact John. He will get you pre-approved within hours, and we can move on from there. So another question I wanted to ask you was about rates. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of us are kind of like thinking about that. We know a little bit about it. We know they were at their lowest at one point, but
Sure.
we know that they're predicted to go up as the year goes.
Yep.
So what is your opinion on it? What's your knowledge about it? Do you think that potential buyers should be locking in their rates right now?
So a lot of these buyers, they're borderline qualifying, right? So a little shift in the rate, a quarter, an eighth, sometimes throws their approval off. We were, you know, the rates were down to about 3.25 about a year and a half ago. They were at their lowest in the last few years. After the presidential election, you saw a quick jump in the rates, and they probably come up about 1% over the last year and a half. They're still very good. They're still very low. You're still getting a rate today at a 4.25, 4.5 if you're a solid buyer with good credit. My recommendation to the buyers is always to lock, because if some tend to float, but if it's that client that has really just very tight numbers, to me, I think a 4.25 rate is an excellent rate, or a 4.5 rate if you can get it. Why not lock it in? Sometimes you tend to wait, and anything that can happen throughout the world can shift rates right away overnight. And why take that chance? But you have some clients that like to gamble with it. I don't know that rates are going to really move much the next few months. They've been pretty steady.
Right.
So we'll see where they go. I mean, right now rates are still very good, and it's a good time to lock, I think, now.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that being said, where do you see the market shifting in 2019?
Yeah, so in 2019, I think that when it comes to interest rates, you might see that they may climb another quarter. If I had to guess, if I had to predict where they're going to go, maybe another quarter at most. I don't think that they're going to climb much. There have been talks with the Feds. Initially, there's supposed to be more rate hikes coming, but I think they scaled that back.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're going to really move much. And in terms of value on property, even the values, I think I'm starting to see just kind of stop. You know, what are you seeing with the values? Are you seeing that they're kind of stabilized a little bit?
Yeah, I think they're more stable more than anything. I don't see a huge big difference, big gaps.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be maybe a quiet year in terms of rates. I don't see anything catastrophic happening in the next year per se.
I agree. Awesome. And last but not least, I just want to ask you, John,
Yep.
why Freedom Mortgage? So what makes you different from other mortgage companies?
Sure. So one of the things that we do most of, we deal primarily with your first-time buyers. As you know, I'm also involved heavily in the investor groups as well.
Yep.
So I'm very familiar with the investor market. But the majority of what I do is dealing with first-time buyers. And Freedom has every product that's out there. We're a direct lender. We're direct with Fannie Mae, with Freddie Mac, with Ginnie Mae. We have these programs now. And FHA loans. So there's two types of loans, right? You have your conventional financing, and you have your FHA financing. And back in the day, I want to say that FHA financing was a lot more popular. Today, the conventional market is kind of, they're really competing with FHA, where the mortgage insurance is a lot more aggressive. So you can get mortgage insurance on 5% down on multi-units, or even with 3% down with high debt to income ratio. So you're seeing a big shift in my business anyway, more to the conventional type of business. And what I love about Freedom is that we have all these great products to offer, where you can get away with 5% down on a multi-unit with a conventional. There tends to be that stigma sometimes with FHA that they're more strict, that the deal might fall through. So I think when a seller's comparing offers, they're going to tend to go with that conventional deal. So I'm seeing a big shift in that with the conventional type products. So Freedom also specializes in renovation lending.
Okay.
So one of the things I do most of is renovation lending. Again, with the investor groups I do and with the primary home buyers that I deal with. As a realtor, it really opens up a whole new world of property for you, right? Because the problem is agents tend to stay away from these products because they don't understand how they work. They may have had a bad experience with it. But the reality is that if you work with a good lender like a Freedom and myself who understands the ins and outs of renovation lending, it's going to go through as smooth as possible. You can show a borrower a house that has a kitchen that needs to be renovated, or maybe it needs an addition or an extension, and perhaps get them into that home, which they never thought would have happened because they didn't know about the renovation loans or thought that was an option. So we do a ton of that, and the nice thing with what we do is that the interest rates and costs are very low. The interest rates are the same as any type of mortgage, conventional and FHA. There's no upcharge to our rates, which any other lender will tell you that they're higher. They're not for us. The fees are the lowest in the marketplace. So really just a great product to get into. And just the most important thing is the service. To me, the reason I've been successful over the years of doing this is because of the service that we provide.
Right.
It's the most important thing. First-time buyers don't know what they're getting into. They rely on us to guide them through the whole process. Those are my favorite clients to work with because they trust us, and we really take them through from A to Z as smoothly as possible and take a lot of the headache out of the mortgage process really. So we come with a lot of experience, and I love to work with any kind of borrower.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much, Sean. And yeah, thanks for mentioning, the different types of loans. The renovation loan it's a great option for you guys. If you're thinking about, fixing up the home a little bit. He also actually has programs. If you can briefly mention, if you are a veteran or if you are a firefighter or a teacher, there are options for you guys. There's benefits that John can offer too.
Yeah, VA loans. Freedom Mortgage is the #1 VA lender in the country. We love our veterans. We have great programs for them, 100% financing. There's no mortgage insurance on these programs, and we do a ton of them. So if you're a veteran, definitely give me a call. You can also get approved with very high debt-to-income ratios as a veteran. We don't set overlays. Freedom is one of those lenders that really doesn't set overlays already on existing products that we have.
Right.
If we get approvals on them, we're not going to make it more difficult to get an approval. So definitely veterans, police officers, teachers, we offer very low rates on those products with no fees. So definitely if you're a police officer or teacher, anyone in the service industry, definitely come talk to us as well.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much, Sean, for coming out here today. Sure. It was, an amazing experience. We got a lot of great knowledge, a lot of information about mortgages. If you guys want to reach out to John, what is the best way to reach you?
Best is always my cell, my cell phone number, anytime, or email. If you have a client or just want to talk, just give me a quick call. My phone number is 973-699-3797 is my cell. My email address, you can always email me on there, and I'll get back to you right away. If I'm not available, someone from my team will be available. We always make sure to move quick in what we do.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I hope you guys have an awesome week. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. This is Market Monday, and I'm Sally Campuzano with Signature Realty. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much.